Hey, this is David Hayter. You may know me as the screenwriter of films like X-Men, X-Men 2, and Watchmen, but you probably know me best as the voice of Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. And you're listening to Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. Kept you waiting, huh?
Aloha and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Casanova Podcast, sponsored by Spotify. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I have a very, very special guest today, one of my favorite content creators. If you love Zelda, if you love Castlevania, if you love Metroid, if you just love gaming and you love the perspective of someone who truly has a passion for gaming and it's not commercialized, you need to be listening to and watching Leon. Leon, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm hanging in there. How about yourself? I appreciate that, by the way. All that introductory stuff. That was nice.
Oh man, I'm doing good. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. I was telling you before we hit record, like I had to do a parent-teacher conference thing at the airport, but I'm here in Waikiki, and I'm just like, I got to drive 30 minutes for this meeting. It makes no sense. Only for them to be like, Can we get a yay? Can we get a nay? And then after 10 minutes, we're done. You can go home now.
Yeah, I was saying, man, that's wild that it was like near an airport. What a weird place for that. But schools, man, you know?
Yeah. All right, man. Like, go ahead and, tell the audience about you. I mean, I seriously do. And I mean, pull no punches.
Pull no punches.
Yes.
Okay, well, you're going to quickly discover that I am terrible at talking about myself, but I will do my best. Like you said in the intro, name is Leon, YouTube handle Leon Kiske. I know, real nerdy, but that's what I went with when I was, 14? That's kind of been my whole thing ever since.
Hey, Guilty Gear forever, man.
I love Guilty Gear. That was the first fighting game I really got into, but I digress. Well, I'm sure we'll touch on some of that stuff later. But yeah, geez, what do I even say? I started YouTube, I guess, technically back during COVID times, maybe even a little bit before then. But I didn't really get the ball rolling on that until I was in college. And one of my college classes was Capstone, which I believe most people probably take something similar to that. And my teacher, God, what a cool dude he was, or is rather. He let me do this YouTube thing as the project for the whole semester and really for the whole year, and that's when I really started getting heavy into it. And without him and the stuff that he, requested that I try and take a stab at, I don't know that I would be still producing video. But it's been something that I've been wanting to do more and more as the older and older I get. So that's kind of the long and short of it. I'm sure we could go even deeper into other talking points, but I don't know if that comes up naturally. I don't want to flood it with too much up front.
Dude, I don't even feel that way. I love when my guests talk. Like, I've had podcasts before where it's like pulling teeth because my guests didn't want to talk at all. So do not feel bad, man. Like, it's just go ahead. I mean, I've had, one of my friends, a real good friend of mine, Avalanche Jared, had him on. Dude, we talked for hours. And
oh, you spoke with him? I'm familiar with Avalanche. He's well, not familiar. I've watched his stuff. I haven't actually talked with him. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's one of my closest friends. I got to introduce you to him.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would appreciate that.
I was kind of wondering. I was like, in your videos, you say retrospective. I was like, were you inspired by Jared?
Yeah.
Dude,
100%. 100%.
He's super chill. He's super chill. I think I've had him on the show 4 times, and we're about to do a 5th one in like this coming week. So yeah.
Nice. Well, hopefully the 5th one is just as good as the others.
Yeah, man, we always have a good time. So yeah, man, like with your YouTube channel and everything and the way you approach doing your content, and you do these retrospectives, like you cover the development. And this is for y'all who haven't, look, I would highly suggest you pause this podcast right now, go over to his channel, please. Sub, like, watch all the videos. They're all good. Like literally, I got my wife, and my wife's just as much a gamer. I was like, babe, you got to check out
Nice.
this YouTube channel. And she's watching it too. We're like, yo, this is phenomenal. Because like I feel like we all grew up around the same era. And like when you're
Yeah.
talking about the development and then you talk about the marketing and like basically it's like stepping into a DeLorean and going back to the good days. I mean, days are depending.
Yeah.
But it feels like going in a DeLorean back to the past, and it's crazy because I'm like, it doesn't feel like okay. So we were to talk about say when Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons came out.
Right.
My wife loves those videos. She loves them because she's like, yeah, those are the first Zeldas I 100%ed, and it's like it doesn't feel like that was what 24 years ago.
It
At this
hurts to
point,
think about that. Yeah, 20
yeah,
something 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. And it's like,
yeah.
where did that time go?
It's weird. It's weird to think like so many of these games, it's like 20, 30. I saw something today that said, was it today or was it yesterday? That said like King of Queens, the show is like 26 or 27 years old. And I'm like, it can't be. It
No,
can't
there's
be
no
more than
way.
10 years. And yeah, like maybe this is the thing that's just weird. The younger folks, you probably don't understand that. But when you get older, time just doesn't feel as long as it does like when you're younger and when you get older and you go from couple years to half a decade to 15 years 20 years and you're just like oh god that much time has passed.
Yeah, that time sneaks up on you, brother, like real quick. There's an interesting theory, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why time feels so slow when you're a kid is because you don't have anything to judge it against.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know really how long months, years are. I mean, sure, there's a calendar and like whatever, all that's fun stuff. You can mark the days quite literally, but the longer you live, the more appreciation you have for time.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's kind of where I think all the time kind of disappears into. Like when you're young, everything's like you're gonna live forever. And like now sitting here at 37 being like, man, I don't know. These years keep getting shorter. I don't know what life is anymore.
I know and it's like it's so weird. I don't know if you experienced this like for me like I'm 37 as of this week of the recording. October 6th is when I turned 37. And
Well,
I
happy birthday
remember,
to you.
thank you. And I remember like when I was younger, when I thought of people in their 30s, especially like 35, 36, 37, like I'm like, oh, they're so old. They know everything. They've had all these experiences. And here I am now. And I'm just like, well, fuck, man. Like,
Yeah.
I still don't know as much as I thought I
Nope.
would.
Not even a little bit, man. Not even a little bit. I did the same thing. Every day I wake up, I look myself in the mirror and I'm like, dude, am I really 37? Is this real? Is this real life? I don't feel like an adult. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it just feels like I don't know, like it's a weird feeling, and I think also it's because we don't have as many new experiences either, like compared to
Yeah.
when we're younger. So it just feels like time just trickles. I'm looking at the clock now; it's like 12 something as we're recording this, and it's like, damn, it felt like it was a couple minutes ago. It was like 6 a.m., and I'm like, okay, it's just time, the flow of time.
It just keeps on slipping, man. There's a whole
It
song
does.
about that.
There is. So what got you into gaming as a kid? Like what was your earliest gaming memory?
Oh, you know what? This is something I thought you would ask, and I'm so glad you did. The first thing that I remember as a kid being firmly planted in my parents', well, actually my grandmother's basement, sitting in front of the old like 20 something inch CRT TV that like was a big old box on the ground. You know what I'm talking about? Had
Yeah.
the had the gray NES on top of that thing with a copy of Mario Brothers 3, and that was my game, dude. That's what I played. That's what I remember playing the most as a kid. And that was like the glow, the soft glow and the hum of that CRT. I can still feel it in like the back of my mind. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's something that like I look back on and I'm like, God, man, that was good times. Of course, I was like 4, maybe 4.5, give or take. so I don't really remember it all that well. But that is for sure. If you asked my dad, my mom, anything like that, like, oh, what was he playing when he was a youngin'? It was Super Mario 3 in that dank grandma basement in front of that big old floor TV, just having a grand time. Didn't care for much of nothing else.
It's so weird, like looking at how, because like that's kind of like similar to my earliest memory too, but except for me, instead of Super Mario Bros. 3, it was, and I know a lot of people hate this game, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest.
I unironically love Castlevania 2. It's so bonkers and crazy, but it's so good. It's definitely not anybody's, like, maybe not their favorite. There's probably a few people out there like, it's my favorite game ever. And to those people, I salute you, because like, wow. But yeah, I remember playing that one too. Although I was older. I was like 12 at that point. I was like, oh, let's get this game because, it was Castlevania.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing.
That's one of those games, like with Castlevania 2, like, I don't know how anyone beat that normally back in the day. It's so cryptic.
Yeah, no, you hear all those stories and people like, oh, I drew my own maps and all that stuff, which is great, awesome. But how are you going to put together some of the stuff those villagers tell you, man? It's like, translation aside, because I'm sure that's like 80% of it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
So it's interesting to me, like when I think about, like, for us in a way, like, and I'm generalizing, you can correct me if I get anything wrong here, but I feel like there was such a wonder and awe when it came to gaming for us growing up. There was really nothing that was very comparable to it. I mean, but it was encapsulated in a whole experience because we had our video games. We had Saturday morning cartoons. We had cartoons before school started, which was as you really dig into it, it's kind of like engineered to, hey, how do you get your kids up early? Put their favorite cartoons on before they have to go to school,
Like, it got me up.
Yeah,
100%.
like, I had to catch, episodes of Mega Man. I remember back when anime first started being shown, like, I used to love Sailor Moon as a kid. I know my siblings used to pick on me for that. They're like, what is this weird thing with the girls in the sailor outfits? I'm like, yo, it's Sailor Moon.
Put some respect on it.
For real, Samurai Pizza Cats and all that. Like, just getting up and especially, after school, then you go play with your friends, stay out or go play video games. Like, it was, being a kid was like, every day was like an adventure. And it's so different now when I look at gaming as an adult. I see so many people who like to talk more about games or complain about games than actually just picking up a controller and playing a game. It's weird to me. I don't know if it's like because I'm older or it's just the fact that gaming became mainstream. I don't know what it is. I was wondering if you've ever thought about how different it is, because it's almost like the magic and wonder and awe of gaming almost isn't there.
All the time. And I 100% agree with that, man. Because, like, I don't really know how best to describe it, but it feels like this hobby that I love deeply. I mean, honestly, because, I'm making videos about it, and so are you. So, like, we're in the same kind of area here. But I don't know. At some point, I think people just kind of lost that. First and foremost, it's supposed to be a game. It's supposed to be something you do for fun. Right. Secondarily to that is everything else that the game might be telling you. Because at the end of the day, it is still like entertainment. It is something that you should probably take a second and really kind of think about, assuming you let yourself do that. But like all that wonder and stuff that I think we had as kids kind of got beat out of you as you grow up. And not like physically beaten out of you, or at least I hope not.
All right. If that happened, we're sorry for you.
Yeah, for real.
Get a therapist because you got to work through that.
That's a rough time, buddy. But like life just bears down on you, and that sense of wonder and like, oh, what could this possibly be? I think fades out the older you get, which is unfortunate because, life, as far as I'm aware and care to say, should be all about the experiences that you have, every little thing about it. And I don't think you're really living if you're not trying to experience something new in some form, in some way. Even if you go back and do something old, like if I went back and I played Mario Brothers 3 right now, which man, I'm tempted to do, I would try to see if there's anything new that I can get out of it. Like, what is it? Why do I keep coming back to it? Like, what
Yeah.
is there more to it than that? And I think that's kind of the thing that people kind of sleep on these days. Cause like when you beat a game, odds are you put it back on the shelf or you uninstall it or whatever the case may be, and you probably don't really think about it much anymore. And to an extent, I think that kind of mentality is how we got to where we are in modern gaming. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of great games out there. I mean, I'm like knee deep in Silk Song as we're talking, and I'm having a great time with that. And there's certainly a lot to unpack with it. But other games, like another game that I play somewhat regularly, and I'll probably get a little bit of shade for it, and it's fine, it's earned, is like Destiny 2, right? I was
Why?
big. Why? Because
Why?
the game is in a rough state right now. Between the developers and the fan base kind of just like beating each other up over and over again. It's rough.
Dude,
But
I've been
that
on
game,
vacation from that game since 2018. It's gotten bad?
there's a part of me that wants to be like, no, it's fine because it's Bungie, right? Like they made Halo and all that fun stuff. And like those games I grew up on. I have a lot of fond memories and a lot of, good times with the old Halos. LAN parties, man. Like every Friday. That was a great time. But I digress.
Damn, I miss
The
those
game
days.
itself, right? It's crazy. Get a double kill and you hear somebody in the other room, you're like, oh god. It's so much fun. And you don't really get that with how games are today. And that's unfortunate. Like you can technically haul a TV and a console or whatever to your buddy's house and do that, but like you're less likely to because of online stuff. But like I call them lifestyle games. It's a game that you put yourself into, and like that's kind of your second job almost. So like you come home from whatever it is you're doing and you're like, all right, time to boot up Destiny 2, see what's going on. And then you spend hours grinding away at that. And there are other games that are like that. Call of Duty comes to mind. Thank you, by the way, for that code. I've been having a pretty good time with it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same way. And it's just like you play this game, Rudy Tooty gun and shooty, and you gain experience, I guess. You level up a battle pass or whatever, and like that becomes kind of your second job. And I feel like that sucks away the fun and the mystique and the curiosity of it all, because there's nothing hiding on a battle pass. It's laid out for you like 100% from start to finish. There's a mosquito in here. That's fun.
Kill it with fire.
I'll try if I see it again. But like, it's too combative. The players want one thing and I don't want to say developers, really it's the suits. The suits want another thing, and it's usually money. And those two things, entertainment and money, can coalesce sometimes, but more often than not, you end up butting heads, I think. And the player base isn't happy because there's not anything in the game worth getting unless you spend, I don't know, anywhere between 10 to 30 more dollars to buy the battle pass or whatever crazy thing they have going on. And like that kind of, like I said, it takes away the mystique. You're not experiencing anything anymore. You're buying things and you're like, oh, time to go to work, time to grind it out.
Yeah.
And
It's weird in a way, like, especially for us growing up, where you unlock characters, you unlock stages, you unlocked so much stuff. Like games, even as jank as they were or could be back in the past, it was a complete experience. And
right.
you're right, like there's the monetization of every little thing. Especially, I don't know how many of you that watch or listen to this podcast are fighting game fans. Boy, it is wild when you have to pay for characters that are legacy characters that back in the day you just had to go through an arcade route or complete certain things or do certain codes to unlock a full roster. It's just weird, the monetization of gaming. And I think if gaming never went mainstream, we probably wouldn't be where we are now, or we would later than we are now.
Yeah, I think eventually all roads probably would have led here, but it didn't need to happen as fast as it did. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because like I agree, man. Going back to Guilty Gear, Jam for whatever reason is usually a DLC character now, and I don't know why. She was originally a part of the core cast,
Yeah.
but like ever since what is it, Exard, the first one, she's been DLC, and I like why?
I mean, okay. So maybe a little off topic, but it's kind of on topic. But
All
you'll
right,
see, I tend to, we're in the car and I sightsee and I go somewhere else sometimes on this podcast. So let's just
it
bear along with me. Is it weird the Guilty Gear is mainstream now to you?
is a little bit actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, I
Back
remember
when
when people didn't even know what Guilty Gear was.
yeah. I remember G4 TV. But
Yes.
back before they acquired what was it, Tech TV back in the day, they had a
Yeah.
program. I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically like a show where they pit a bunch of gamers to like go against each other in various games, and one of them
Yeah.
was Guilty Gear. And when Guilty Gear popped up on this show at first, I was like, "What in the world am I looking at? Why is this so clean looking?" Granted, this
Hmm.
was what 2004 2005, so this was Guilty Gear double X, like the
Yeah.
Midnight Carnival, right? The one that
Yeah.
had Ino in it, the first time she was in there, I think. And I remember watching that and being like, what is up with all the dust? Because every time any character did anything like a jump or anything, like clouds of dust just shooting up out of the floor, and I was like, this game is amazing. The fluidity of the characters is insane. And I went out of my way to find a copy of Guilty Gear for the Xbox back then. And I sat down and I played it, and I was like, this is the greatest fighting game I think I've ever played. And Kai became my main character. A buddy of mine, his main character was Soul. So every now and again, like we'd have the faded matchup, and they had like the
Hmm.
custom intro, and it was the coolest stuff. It was so neat. But yeah, it's weird to consider that like now it's on like the grand stage and everybody's like, oh my God, it's got Lucy from Edge Runners in there now. Like, what is going on with that? Maybe I should check Guilty Gear out. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad people are going in there and like looking at it, but where did y'all come from? Like, this was my secret game. What are you doing here?
It's just wild to me, man. Like so many games that like they were niche. And a part of
Mm,
me, it's weird to say now that like the big four is obviously Street Fighter at the top. I mean that
right.
I don't see anyone really dethrone that. You got Street Fighter, you got Mortal Kombat,
Hmm.
even though NetherRealm Studios, you need to start supporting your games longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Mortal Kombat 1 could have used a little more tender love and care.
That one that was the quickest a Mortal Kombat game has died off in my opinion. I don't think I've seen one die that quickly. But
You're
anyways,
right.
you got that. You got Tekken. You
Hmm.
got Guilty Gear is firmly number 4, if not number 3, given how MK is. And it's like that is not something that was on my bingo card. Like
No, not at all.
you never would have expected that. And it's
Mm-mm.
I remember because I go to tournaments out here. I had folks out here, they're like, they would play the game and then they're like, oh, do you know like the story about this? Can you give me like a quick background on the characters? I'm like, a quick background? Quick?
Sure.
What?
Yeah, quick.
Quick? There's nothing quick about that. They're like, well, what's
No.
the synopsis of the story? I'm gonna need about 5 hours and a bunch of monster to be able to talk about that because there's no way you can. They got the anime or that's either anime out or is it coming out or something like that. And I'm just like, there's a lot of people that think, oh, I can just watch that and I'll know what's going on. No, you can't.
No, you can't. Not even a little. Yeah, man. You want to know about Guilty Gear? You better sign up for a damn dissertation.
Yes.
You better be ready. Like
And
just
if you
ready to go.
think that's bad, Blaze Blue is worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Blaze Blue's so off the wall, I don't even remember like anything about it other than Noelle Vermillion is wildly fun to play as.
Yeah, I feel like wasn't there a point when Blaze Blue was made? It was made because they lost the rights to Guilty Gear, and it was kind of like an alternative or something. Or I could be mixing it up, but I feel like there was a reason that was
Uh,
made because we had a lull for
hmm.
Guilty Gear for a
Yeah,
bit.
Guilty Gear kind of fell off after, what was it, Accent Core Plus was, I think,
Yeah,
the last one.
and we had two, which was like Xbox and PC exclusive. I don't like to talk about two.
2 is weird.
It's so
2
weird,
is weird.
but it's canon. But it's
Is
weird.
it's weird. It's like some kind of MOBA, but not really, and like a RTS at the same. It's bizarre. It's not what I signed up for, and I was like, "Oh, Guilty Gear."
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. But
But
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no. You're good. You're good. You're good.
No, I just gonna say like it's the mainstream effect of gaming. I feel like is great and bad at the same time. It's great because it gave us a lot more exposure. There's more budgets. We have more options. But the problem is it's mainstream. So
Mm,
yes, you're bringing in casuals, non-gamers, and all this, which is great. That's the best way to expand. So why, like, when I talk to people who get mad about modern controls and fighting games and such, I'm just like, you gotta bring in new people. It's like
mm-hmm.
any store, you have to get new customers. But the problem I feel like it is the corporatization of gaming and the suits. They make a lot of questionable decisions.
Questionable is probably the most polite way you could have said it, but yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like you saw that AMD PlayStation announcement. They basically announced the PlayStation 6 in development, and I'm just
Did
like,
they? I didn't see that.
they didn't say it, but they're like, yeah, our collaboration for this project, and it's like, I think there was a leak a couple months ago where they're like, yeah, PlayStation 6 around the corner.
Oh my god, PlayStation 5, I know it's been a couple years, but it like just came out and like
Yeah,
it has a decent library of stuff, but it feels like it's too soon to be talking about a PlayStation 6.
yeah, it really is. I'm like, I've always said that the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series should have released in 2022 or 2023. And the
Yeah.
reason I say that is dropping that during the peak of COVID was bad, a bad business decision. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they made a return on their whatever their return on investments. I don't think they got that. And then the fact that you have how many exclusives for PlayStation 5? Not really. Not really
Yeah.
a lot of them.
No. You got what, like God of War, Ghosts of Tsushima / Yote.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's others. I'm sure there's others.
Right. It's like, and compared to like other generations, it just seems like Sony is like, yeah, we're not really making that much effort with this. And then when they
Mm-hmm.
dropped the Pro, which was that last year, they dropped the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is weird.
Yeah, it's been at least a year, maybe almost 2 actually, and I don't like why did they do it so soon?
That's why I'm so confused by that. And then like all this talk and rumor about the 6, and then Xbox, their whole thing got put out there, and it's like, yeah, they're bringing a new Xbox in 2027, and I'm just like, what has this generation just been like a stopgap or something?
It kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, you guys are still releasing games for the one Xbox One and the PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
4. So what? We're gonna have PlayStation. I was saying this to my friend Gaming Chick. She's another content creator. I'm like, what are we gonna have? PlayStation 6 is gonna drop. We're gonna get games for the PlayStation 6, the 5, and the 4. Like, what is the incentive?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I think like there's always going to be a demand for more and more powerful hardware, but if you're asking me, the return on investment on like graphical fidelity, it's been diminished returns. I think ever since, I'll be generous and I'll say ever since PlayStation 4, the Xbox One era, I don't think we have gotten very much in terms of like graphical fidelity. Like nothing's really gone up from there. It's always just kind of been lateral movements, which is great. I want more stylized games. Like realism's awesome, don't get me wrong, but nothing holds up like a good art style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and that I'm glad you brought that up because I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like, especially for us at our age, we've seen games go from 8-bit pixels
Mm,
to the evolution as it kept progressing further and further. So for us, we got to see the jumps like, okay, this is why you buy this console. This is how much of a leap this is over what we currently have. And I agree with you. I would even go so far as to say mid PS 360 era is where we
mm.
kind of capped off, and it's just been incremental at best. Like, okay, we got better hair textures, we got better mocap, we got better this, but it's not groundbreaking
No,
anymore.
not in the same way. Not like it used to be. I remember going from what was one of the best looking PS1 games, in my opinion, is Chrono Cross, right? The intro, like cinematic, when you boot up that game, is
Ooh,
top tier. It's so good between the visuals and the music that's going. It's one of the best. Say what you will about the gameplay. I know it's not like a favorite, but it's visually a great looking game. And then to go from that to like Final Fantasy X on the PS2 was mind blowing because you're like, oh my God, it's
yes,
actually like this is what real people look like. And then, like you said, around the 360, PS3, like the later half of that, like going into PlayStation 4, it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same, you know?
yeah, and it's almost like, well, I strongly feel this way that the experiences are becoming so formulaic that the developers, and this could be a top down thing, you know, it could be the suits that are making these decisions, but like the games don't really, they don't take risks like they used to. Like one of my
Mm-mm.
favorite games, and I know people absolutely who actually have ever tried this game, and I haven't met many people that played it, Kudelka for the PS1, which,
I
you
have a
know,
copy of that.
meet yo, isn't it crazy how expensive that game is?
Dude, I got it right before it started taking off in price. I couldn't tell you what about it is causing that other than I guess the nostalgia of it all, but I'm glad I got my copy before it got to be like 300 plus.
Yeah, but like that game was so experimental. You have the pre-rendered backgrounds, you know, the quasi tank controls, the horror, and I feel like it was perfected with the Shadow Heart series, which for those of you who don't know, Kudelka is the prequel to the Shadow Heart series. But it's one of those things where it's like that game was so experimental, even with all the jank, I still respect it for being something that's so different. That Vagrant Story, what else? The Vandal Hearts games, the Saga games, like games that really experimented.
Mm,
And we can throw Silent Hill in there. That was a big twist on the Resident Evil formula. And it's like
100%, yeah.
now everything is so safe. I saw that IGN article, and I know people clown them for that article in the video. They were like, oh, when the person said PlayStation games feel the same. And folks are
But
like, yeah,
yeah, that one, yeah.
I can't trust it because it's IGN. But then like you go down to the comment section, people are like, you actually made a good point. Because they do.
He does have a point. He does have a point. I played God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, and like they're great games. I played Ghost of Tsushima, also great game. I haven't tried Yote yet. That's on my eventual to-do list. But I imagine it will also be a great game. But you can kind of like connect the dots in terms of like what the gameplay is going to be and how it's going to feel overall, which is fine. There's comfort in that. There's nothing wrong with it. If it works, it works. And to their credit, it does work. But it feels real similar, you know?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like experimentation, like you said. The PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 era was highly, highly experimental. And like there's a lot of credit that I could give that those generations specific. which they deserve it. And I think part of it, and I could be wrong on this, but I think part of it is that a lot of the developers for a lot of the good games on those systems were from Japan, right? So you're getting a Japanese interpretation of like what an American thing could be, right? And there's a lot of room in there for it to get real weird. And in a lot of places it did. That's like why Resident Evil is so odd. Like the first one specifically is like the most B horror movie coded thing I think I've ever laid my eyes on. And I love that it just took that and it held onto it so tight and it just cruised its way. Like it knew exactly what it wanted to be from beginning to end. And there's this level of authenticity that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's a lot of that authenticity that exists for the developers these days. Like, don't get me wrong. Again, there's plenty of people out there, developers, that are pouring their heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into like what they're crafting. And to those people, I respect you immensely. But I think as it's gotten more accepted and more people are getting into it, gaming as a whole, we're seeing maybe less and less creative risk and more like, this is what people want.
Yeah.
This is what we're pushing and this is what they're going to get, you know, because we think it's what they want.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm good.
No, I was going to say like a perfect example of that is I'm about to hit the hornet's nest with this one.
I'll go for it.
You guys can come after me. Leave Leon alone. The Silent Hill fandom. The reaction to Silent Hill F. And I don't know if you played it.
Not yet. I haven't yet.
Okay. So I won't spoil anything. Enjoy it. Now, you don't get firearms. It's very melee-ish. Some people say it plays like a Souls game. I honestly think it plays closer to Darksiders 3.
Interesting.
In a way. Oh, a lot of people are like, it's not set in Silent Hill, so it's not a Silent Hill game. It's too combat focused. It's too this. And I'm just like, it's to me, and I know people are going to come after me for saying this, I think it's one of the best Silent Hill games out there. Like, and I'm not even from a psychological and narrative, like Ryukishi 07. I'm not familiar with his other works, but the way this game is now, granted, the way you learn more about the story, you do have to play the game multiple times.
It's one of those.
It does change every time you play it, and you do have to do that to get the true ending. But it's one of those things where, like, you start connecting the dots and the depth of the character lore and the setting. It, regardless of what people say, it actually does tie. When you play it, you'll come across something, and it's a clear tie to the Silent Hill, the actual Silent Hill and the cult. But anyways,
interesting. Okay.
It's a game that it's like Konami and the developers knew what fans wanted, which was probably more of Silent Hill 2 remake. And they're like, we're going to give you something different. And it's like critically it's loved. The Silent Hill fandom are split. And so many hate it. And then I constantly see in the Reddit, like, people are going back and forth. I hate it. I love it. This isn't a Silent Hill game. This is. And to tie it back to your point, it's like when companies do dare to do something different, in modern day, they're demonized for it, which is weird. Because it's like you want them to do something different. You don't want it to be so formulaic and become stale. Yes, they could have just continued and built off of the framework of Silent Hill 2 remake. But guess what? That's why you have Chronos, the New Age, which is Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill meets, Dead Space. It really is. If you haven't played that one, brother, I highly recommend you play that.
I love both of those games, so I guess I'll have to. Yes, Dead Space is I love Dead Space. It's awesome.
Dude, it's So it's just one of those things where I feel like it's a weird time, I feel like, as a game developer, and I've talked to a lot of devs over the years on this show. And, one of the things that they all say is like, there is that calculating the risk versus reward because they want to make something creative. But then when they have to go to their higher ups, half the times they're like, well, we don't know if this is going to sell. This
Right.
needs to be closer to this. And that is the corporatization of gaming. And so it's like you're stuck in a rock and a hard place because
Mm.
some fans want something new, some don't. They want
Yeah.
what they want. And it's like, it's kind of like being stuck in purgatory in a way.
Yeah, I feel that. And I'll have to keep my eye out when I eventually get through Silent Hill F, because that sounds interesting. I like games that kind of feed you the narrative and then you're like, okay, then you boot it back up and something's a little different. Did you ever play Eternal Darkness back in the day?
Yes.
Yes, that game, granted, it was a little more like linear, pick your color, but it wanted you to play each of those routes to get the whole story. And like I like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I'm playing a game, and I kind of relate this to like watching a good series or reading a good book or something like that. If you want to go back in and you kind of want to re-experience it, right? So if a game is willing to like give you the story and then dare to dangle a carrot in front of you, being like, but that's not everything. Go back in and play some more. I'm in, man. Sign me up. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting through Silent Hill F with that little extra tidbit. That's fun. And I'll kick the hornet's nest a little bit too here. Silent Hill 3, way better than Silent Hill 2. And I will fight anybody on that any day. Any day. Silent Hill 2 is great. I love it for what it is. Silent Hill 3 is way better. Way better.
Yeah. In every way, I feel like it's better. Like it is way more visceral, way more literal in many like its subject matter. You know the crazy thing is Silent Hill F is so similar in many aspects. There's a lot of themes from Silent Hill 3 that's an F. And it's kind of funny to me as the people who I don't know if you've seen all these videos popping up where they're like Silent Hill F is woke, it's for feminism, and it's all this other stuff. And I'm just like, when I see that now, I look at it and I'm like, you didn't play the game.
No, I guarantee you they didn't.
Nothing. There's literally zero political in Silent Hill F or social or anything like that. Is literally the perspective of what it's like being a teenager,
right?
1960s Japan. And Heather and Hinako have so much in common that I'm like, if Silent Hill 3 came out today,
yeah, it'd get hit. Like, it'd get hit with that, like, oh, it's so woke or whatever. And fine, but you're missing out, man, if that's going to be your like baseline. Yeah, it's got a female protagonist, so it's nah.
It's weird. It's so weird how and I feel like there's so many grifters in gaming now, especially in the creator space. Not knocking anybody. I understand that's everywhere, but it's just like it's so tiring because I'm like, you didn't play the game. You didn't play the game. They're like, oh, it does this, da 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 da, and I'm like, that's not even in the game. And it's so funny when I look at these videos and I go to the comments, their own audiences are like, you didn't play the game.
I don't doubt that for a second. So many people look at things at like surface level and just assume it's the headline thing, right? Like you read the headline of the article and you assume you know what it's about, when really you don't. You got to take a second, go in there and read it. It might not be the best, but maybe read it, see what's up.
Yeah.
Same thing with a game. You might not like it on surface, but maybe dive a little deeper, just a little bit, see how you like it.
So I got to ask you, favorite survival horror game and why?
Favorite, just in general, favorite game? Or is like series or what?
We can take either way, however you want to go with it.
Okay.
Or both.
I'm just gonna, God, Jesus. All right. favorite series, bar none, Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil. I've played basically all of them. They're some of the best games I've ever played, and Resident Evil 2 PS1 original is probably my favorite. And there is a little bit of bias there because it was the first one I technically played, but I don't care. It's great. It's great from start to finish, and like there's something about the PS1 survival horror games that kind of stick with you. And I think it's because everything's just a little janky. You got the warbly PS1 textures on the walls and stuff, and the character models always are just super blocky and weird looking. They got the hand that's like this, you know what I mean? I'm blocking my face, but like this is the hand for everything. And like it's fine. I love that. God. A close second, though, and I will admit it's very close, is Dead Space. Dead Space 1, Dead Space 2, phenomenal. Love those games. I even like Dead Space 3. Not every aspect of it. There's some parts of it that's like, I don't think you needed that. But like the co-op of it is great. I remember playing that with a buddy of mine way back when it first came out. He was playing the second character. I was playing Isaac, and we went into a co-op only room for the first time. And he was like, "Are you not seeing all this stuff?" And I was like, "Brother, what are you talking about? It's just a bunch of boxes and cylinders. There's nothing here." He's like, "There are," like, I forget what it was. It was like some kind of stuffed animal, or like the nutcrackers from like Christmas stuff. You know what I mean? Just everywhere. He's like, "They are everywhere." And I'm like, "Brother, I'm not seeing any of that." It's like, "No, you have to be." And oh man, I'm not. And he got into the center of the room and had a little freak out. And I was sitting there trying to protect him, and he's doing whatever he's doing on his end of the screen. And it's just this perfect chaos of those co-op encounters. And I liked that so much that it kind of overshadowed the lesser designed aspects of that game. It's definitely the weakest out of the Dead Space trilogy. I'm not going to argue it's the best one. There's no way.
We all know it's Ignition.
Yeah, Ignition. That's the best one. So, ooh, I almost forgot that existed. Thank you for jogging my memory on that. Ignition. I'll have to go back and try that out at some point. I haven't played Ignition since, God, when did it come out?
Was it 09?
Yeah, something like that. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I haven't played it since then either.
I'm gonna have to see how well it aged. Probably not well at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, those two games, man, those two horror IPs, some of the best.
Yeah, so considering you're a Dead Space fan, you got to play Chronos. Like, when I say this game, it controls like Dead Space. It's got the psychological horror, more Silent Hill 2 and 3. But like hallucinatory stuff too.
Oh man,
it's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that then. Silent Hill, awesome. Dead Space, awesome. Put them together, I imagine that's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yes,
it's got to work so well. All right, I'm gonna have to put that on the old wish list on Steam.
So I want to ask you, when it comes to the process when you're making your videos and you do your retrospectives, how do you, like, what is your process like if you were to walk us through it, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is there more to that question before I rudely cut you off?
No, go for it.
Okay. All right. So, geez, what's the best way to go about it? Realistically, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna start at the end and I'm gonna work my way back and then go back to the end. It's gonna be a full circle kind of deal.
Take your time.
It's something that I'm still kind of trying to figure out for myself, right? Is like, what is the right cadence? What is the right pace? What is it that I'm trying to do and say? And there's a lot that you can cover in any game if you look deep enough, if you want to look deep enough. And that's the pivotal thing, is the want.
Mm-hmm.
You can find just about anything that you want to find, assuming, of course, it fits in with the game. So, like, for me, as I'm doing this, as I'm writing more, as I'm looking at these older games that I've played with adult eyes, it's slowly becoming less about what is the overall game, and like, why is it that I want to talk about it? That's what it's becoming more and more. And I think part of that is I want to say my piece about the games that I remember playing and what made them great. I don't want to sit there and dog on something just because, like, that's the in thing to do. Eventually, I'm going to get to, like, Castlevania 2, right? Like that's eventually going to happen. And when I do, I want to focus more on like what made it special and unique and less about like why it's so bad. Because honestly, it's not bad. It's rough, but
Yeah.
it's not bad. And I don't think any developer goes out of their way to make a bad game on purpose. Or at least I hope not. Like that's my default. Like they made a game, they tried, let's see what it's about. So with that preamble, the actual like how I go about making a game is a video, excuse me, about a game. As much as I'd like to make a game, I tried, man. I did programming in college once or twice, and it didn't work. For as smart as I like to think I am, I can't do that. Programming is a whole other language, literally.
Yeah.
Um, the whole process is like I sit down and I'm like, all right, what game do I want to talk about? And I have one that I'm working on. It's going to be different from like what I've been posting recently because I wanted to take a small break from Castlevania
Mm-hmm.
and Legend of Zelda. Castlevania games are getting shorter and shorter, which is great, but Zelda games are getting longer and longer, which is not so great. Wind Waker's the next one I'm working on there, and that's Wind Waker's a long game, my man.
Wii U
But
or GameCube one are you using for your video?
I haven't quite really decided. I want to use the Wii U version, if only because the like presentation's a little cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they changed a lot about like how the game actually flows, and I don't want to kind of want to use that one, but at the same time I want to present it as it was originally presented. So
Mm-hmm.
I know the Switch 2 has like the GameCube version on
Yeah.
it, so I'll probably use footage from that just because that's more than likely how a lot of people are going to be playing the game nowadays, unless they still have their Wii U copy. In which case, I'll bring up the differences here and there, but that's a project for another day. Starting to sweat thinking about it. Right. So, like looking at the game, right, deciding why do I want to talk about this game? And I'll spoil it a little bit, little heads up for anybody who's coming from my channel here. Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance is the one that I'm working on now, right?
Ace.
And that it's a nice little pocket adventure. It was one of my favorites as a kid, and it's so good. And I'm looking at it now being like, wow, they really laid out a lot of groundwork with the first game. And I don't think a lot of people picked up on that. And if they did, then they're a step ahead of me, I guess. But I took like copious amounts of notes going through this game. Like I have let me see. I got this little Zelda notebook here, right?
Nice.
And it's just filled up, well, getting filled up from front to back about all the stuff that I'm playing and experiencing. And I'm sitting there as I'm playing the game. I'm like, well, that was weird. Let me jot that down. And then I'll come back to it later and maybe form some more thoughts on it if it's relevant. So using that, I'll sit down, I'll play a game, I'll take notes as I'm progressing through it. And if there's something that's really interesting, then I'll take a minute, I'll highlight that one specific, and I'll start asking sub questions under that. Like, why did this get brought up? How many people are like in the Golden Sun video? I'll spoil a little bit more of it here. They talk about adepts a lot. Like you got your four elements, earth, wind, fire, water, and people
Mm-hmm.
who can use that are adepts. Like, what is an adept? What makes a person adept? Is it just how they were born? Is that just an innate ability? And then like you start finding pockets of people in the world that are using a power similar to what an adept can do, but they don't know what an adept is. They're like, I don't know, I just can do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Why? Do you know why? They don't know why. And it really comes to a head in some of the temples that you come across. They're very Asian themed, and it's very funny because they use the most stereotypical Asian music I think you could ever do.
Yeah.
Borderline racist, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that it's a Japanese company. But you start talking with these people, and they're like, yeah, ki. We use ki. I was like, well, what's ki? Oh, it's the power of the mind. Well, that's what adepts do. They use their mind to forge powers that not everybody can see. Like, why is it called ki here when it's called psi energy everywhere else? And then you
Mm-hmm.
find another pocket of people that's like, we don't use ki, we use chi. Well, what's chi? Well, it's a power from the body. Okay, so it's just a different flavor of psi energy then? Because, like, it's kind of the same thing. So, like, there's a bunch of questions that start popping up just in that game alone. And I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, well, that's interesting. We'll explore that a little bit more. We'll start asking questions why this is. how did this happen? And like, yeah, from there, it's just a matter of looking into the company that made it. Well, it's Nintendo, but Camelot specifically, who nowadays don't really make a lot of RPGs, which is unfortunate. They're quite good at it.
Yeah.
They're mostly relegated to the Mario sports mines, which, I mean, I get it, but, you know, sometimes you want to flex out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Camelot do something more than Mario Tennis for like the 18th time.
All right.
But yeah, so I'll start looking into Camelot and like what they're all about. And this is true for just about any company that I look into. If it's something that's been done to death, I won't bother, because there are people out there that have done, I joked about it earlier, but basically dissertation level like analyses about how Ocarina of Time was made. Like, cool. I'm glad that they did that. There's nothing more that I can add to the development that they haven't already talked about, right? Like near to death. So I don't want to waste. I say waste. I don't want to take the time to explain something that's been explained hundreds of times, probably better, honestly, by somebody else. So if there's room for me to add a little bit of context to the development, I will. And that's something that I think is important. Moreover, though, it starts getting into like story and like what's the overall plot of the game. How do the characters interact with the story? How deep does the story really go? And some of my own personal experiences from what I remember as a kid when I was playing this stuff, and even some stuff that I know as an adult, right? Like eventually, and I don't know how I'm going to add to the conversation here really, but eventually I want to talk about Metal Gear. And Metal Gear for me has been a game, you know, I played Solid on the PlayStation. I've played Solid 2, 3, 4, all of them basically. And they're all very good, maybe a little long-winded in some sections. Metal Gear 4 had like what, a 2-hour movie just randomly in there because Kojima has his like his wants to be a director. And you know, all the praise in the world to Kojima, I guess, but ooh, a lot. There's a lot.
I gotta hit the hornet's nest. Love Kojima's work, but we have to be honest. He needs restraint. He needs
He does.
parameters.
He does. Death Stranding, when that game came out, I was looking at it, I was like, what is this? What is all this? Because it was bonkers.
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2, even more bonkers somehow. He needs somebody to keep him in check, I think. Not to say that Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2 aren't fine games. They're fine. It's just like, good lord, man. Ease up. Reel it in a little bit, brother. Do we really need Norman Reedus and the weird baby on his like chest thing? It's for the story, I guess. So we're gonna let that ride, but okay. Metal Gear, I think, was the perfect amount of like just Kojima enough, but somebody higher up was like, you need to reel it in a little bit, just a little. Just
Yeah.
bring it back just a little bit, please. And he was all right, fine. But those games, as a kid, like playing them, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm some Secret Service, you know, secret agent guy going in, messing people up. That's great. As an adult, and one who has experience in let's say military application, right, it hits different now. I played through Metal Gear Delta, right? I finally got around to getting through that, and it is just as good as I remember it, but the problem now is I have the context of what it means to be a soldier, right? And watching those people, the Cobra unit, kind of go through their motions and go through their paces and, you know, give everything for what it is they believe in, hits different now.
Yeah.
As a kid, it's like, oh, whatever, just some old dude with a sniper rifle and a parrot. That's weird. Now it's like, oh man, this guy really, that was his whole life. That's what he was all about. And like, again, eventually I'd like to be able to talk about that, but it's something that I think I need to take my time with because I don't want to just blurt everything out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It requires nuance, I think. It requires nuance and a careful capable hand and mind according. And again, there's a bunch of stuff I'm sure you can unpack about just about any game, but that one for me is kind of like I need to really think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you want David Hayter on that, just let me know.
You
I'm
know,
dead serious.
I would love the opportunity to talk with David Hayter, even for just a minute. That dude's a legend.
Just like I said, just let me know. I can just call him up or text him like, "Hey, Dave, you free? Yeah, hop on this call." Okay,
Uh,
I've done that
man,
a lot in the past.
I bet. If you got the hookup, I'm sure people are coming to you in droves.
Well, yeah, but the thing is being very selective with it. Like I have a thing with so this show has been like a good platform for me to connect with a lot of people, from voice actors, celebrities, other content creators and such. But I do have an ethics code that I stand by is that if I have you on the show, I do everything to protect you as far as like I said, anything that's said on here or done. But if it does progress from, acquaintance to like a friendship, then I take care of my friends. But just put it that way, take care of them. I look out for them and protect them. That's just how I am. And with David, we've been friends now for 8 or 9 years. I forget how long it's been, but it
Wow.
started off with me just like, reaching out to interview him. And then it just went from there. And then I found out he does a lot of stuff out here in Hawaii. There's a lot of stuff with Jason Momoa. And when he found out, I'm part Hawaiian too. And
Right.
then we're working on, I can't really say what we're working on, but let's just say there will be a show out here that he will be working on as in directorial role, and I'll be part of it. And so like whenever I
Nice.
introduce him to, other creators, or if I introduce him to corporations, because I do a lot of mentoring out here for an organization known as Gameheads Hawaii, where we bring in the game industry from the world over to work with students here in Hawaii. There's also locations in the mainland as well. And so, last year I had Jennifer Hale,
Nice.
Troy Baker, David Hayter, a bunch of other people like do videos and reach out. Even Kyle Bear, who did Ryu and Street Fighter and Gohan and Dragon Ball, do stuff for the students in the game and connecting PlayStation. They actually got to work on stuff for PlayStation for Spider-Man 2, one of the DLC packs. So it's I have
man.
like I said, like my code of ethics is to take care of my guests and also my friends, but also I really feel like you never know who knows someone. So there's 6 degrees of separation. And if I'm in a position where I can connect someone to someone else and this can be beneficial for both parties, I do it. It's like, why not?
Wow. That's first of all, love the whole God, jeez. I'm gonna look dumb. What was it? The whole the Hawaii thing that you're a part of?
Game has Hawaii.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is awesome. Number one. That's great. I love that that's a thing that not only that you're doing, but helping facilitate. It's fantastic. But yeah, no, it's also good that, you take care of your own, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's, I really feel like I got this way. And yes, it's kind of peeling back the curtain a bit for the audience who may not know this, but being in this creator space at this point, 15 years. One of the things, or rather two of the things I see, and they completely contradict each other so much, is one, I've met a lot of creators that are amazing, and a lot of creators and people in the industry that are absolutely shitty. And often there's a mentality of, I can't help others because if I help someone else, it comes at the expense of myself. But as I've been in this so long, I've seen enough of where there's more than enough opportunities for everybody to
Right.
succeed, and it's, I don't even know how to correctly describe it, but I work now with companies more on the industry side than I do as a creator. So I see a lot of the stuff on the back end, and in seeing a lot on the back end, I'm like, I don't understand why more creators don't do this. Why don't you do that? And then I'll talk to some, they're like, but my audience likes this, or if I do this, then I'm not going to have this. I'm just like, but you can still get these opportunities.
Right.
Like there's still these networking events and all this other stuff. And a lot of people think when it comes to the game or tech industry, oh, it's so big, I can't work with anyone. But yes, it's big, but the people within games and tech and just entertainment in general who make the decisions for who gets what and, who gets paid, who gets an opportunity, it's microscopically small. And I don't think enough creators understand that it's small, and it's small in a way that if you are any way able to like interact with that microscopically small sector, then they trust you.
Right.
Then when you bring other people in, it's like, all right, well, he wouldn't bring anyone to us unless, you know,
They were on the up and up.
right. And then it's like you get so many eyes open, like, oh wow, this is this. So like when I tell people, because I speak at the high schools and colleges out here, because a lot of students would rather be an influencer or a content creator than a lawyer or doctor or nurse or anything like that. And I tell them, here's the thing: content creating, absolutely fun. It becomes not fun or not as fun when you create it as a career or you go into
Yeah.
it as a career, because then it's about, for some people, it's about viewership and all this other stuff. For me, I don't really care about the viewership because I know creators that have millions of subscribers who can barely break 1,000 views. It's just because the landscape and the algorithm just keeps changing.
Right.
So for me, I look at it like I want to get into the aspect where I am able to make money to live off of sustainably. I don't need the lifestyle. So many creators, I
Yeah.
want that. I can tell you a lot about, brother, like the amount of creators I've seen within this past week. One's like, I had one creator, I'll tell you his name off air, but like he's part of T-Pain's Nappy Boy Gaming thing.
Really?
He's gotten all these major opportunities. And for whatever reason, him and a couple others I know, they did not do one of the things that I tell every creator to do: diversify your income and your opportunities.
Right.
He, like this and a couple others, they just literally so hyper focused on living the lifestyle, presenting on social media, and doing all this other stuff, then jumping into politics and then all this other things. I'm just like,
That sounds rough.
it's bad because now they're all like, I got to quit being a full-time creator. I got to go back to being, working a 9 to 5, which there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
But
not at all.
No, but like I try to tell people, diversify, because you don't know how long, and this is with anything, even when you're in jobs, you still need to get certifications and all this other stuff lined up just in case it doesn't work out. You can pivot. And David Hayter calls me the pivot king. I'm like, I know when to pivot. I'm looking at this and I'm like, all right, time to pivot this way. Like,
Yeah.
I look at this stuff and I'm just like, there's so many ways to have longevity in this, but I feel like for a lot of people, they think, oh, it's all about the views. When you start working with the corporations on the back end, they don't give a fuck about the views. They really want to look at how creative you are, how good your content is, even if it's rough, because what they will do is, if they like what you do, they will get behind you, and then you've got a machine behind you. They'll either provide products or just resharing or liking or promoting you on social media, which goes a long way. And I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Like that's, I see so much on the back end that I'm just like, man, I wish I could get more creators to like shift to doing this and focus more on the craft. That's why, like, when I came across your channel and I'm just like, man, this guy's really fucking good. I'm like, like I'm going and making food and got popcorn just sitting there, and I'm just sitting down and I've got 100% focus on your videos. And I can't say that about a lot of other people because, so many people do the jump cuts and the constant zoom in, zoom out and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I tune out because I'm so used to it. But when I'm watching your stuff, it's so original, refreshing. And I really want you to, I highly suggest you stay the course, dude. Cause like, bro, You're really fucking good at what you do.
You know, those words are some of the kindest, and I appreciate that, brother. You have no idea. Like, I'm thrilled to hear that. Because I'll be real with you, I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
But that's the thing, is like the fact that you're doing that, it allows you to stay organic and authentic, because
Mm,
you're paving this road as you go. You're not trying to be a knockoff of someone else. You're doing
no.
your own thing. And the best thing about being a creator is, yes, you can like what other people do, incorporate aspects. I mean, companies
Mm,
do this all the time. Incorporate, you look at McDonald's, like, all right, we're going to have chicken sandwiches, even though we were only doing burgers. Now we're going to do chicken sandwiches. Now we're going to do breakfast. Now we're going to do this. And it's like you can a la carte and incorporate different things and still be uniquely you. And
but yeah.
for me, there was a point, and I really have to say, your channel is kind of the catalyst for this, but there was a point where I just stopped like watching gaming content because it felt too copy paste, cookie cutter rip-offs of other people. And then when I found your channel, I'm like, man, I fucking love it. I found yours. I found Jake's Save Room. I found a whole bunch of other folks. And I'm just like,
Mm,
this is what got me into doing it, because this is what I came up in watching on YouTube.
right.
Like, man, keep doing what you're doing.
That's the plan, man. Eventually, right? Just keep it steady. At the end of the day, I don't want to be anybody else. You know what I mean? I want to be me. Nobody's going to have my perspective on anything. There might be similar, right?
Mhm.
That's why we're talking. We're in a similar mindscape. But my perspective on things is going to be at least that much different from how your perspective on things is going to be. And there's nothing wrong with that, assuming, everything's kind of on the level and you're not going crazy with it. But for the most part, I want to share my experience with people who are willing to listen. And my experience is going to be different from yours. And it's the comparing and contrasting, really, at the end of the day, that I'm kind of looking for. Like, why is it you like this? Why is it that I like this? What's connected? What's different? How can I appreciate this more now that I have somebody else's insight? And like, I think there needs to be more of that and less of the, I guess, gamification of it all. Because, like you said, throwing on YouTube and going through certain videos, it's like, yep, seen it, seen that. The thumbnail's way too similar. This guy's
Yeah.
gonna have the same take as this other guy, and it's like, I get it. They're churning out content for the content gods, but it's less about being you, and it's more about chasing the, I guess, the clout. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the paycheck or whatever the case may be at the end of the day for them. And like, fine, do you get your bag, whatever, but are you really being you? Are you really being authentic? I don't think so. There's too much of that, man. Too much of it out there. The greatest bit of advice that I've heard and I've gotten from a bunch of other people is like, make the things you want to see, and that's what I want to do. I have a question for you now because I'm
Go for it.
deathly curious. Like, when you saw a whatever video of mine that popped up for the first time, what on God's green earth made you click on that? Be like, yeah, I'm gonna spend like 45 minutes to an hour on this. What's that? What happened there? I have to know.
So I was looking up. Okay, so it kind of goes from this.
Hmm.
I was watching. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dongled. Dude, you haven't played that video game.
I can't say that I'm aware of that. No,
Okay,
or of them.
so I was watching one of his videos because he's covering some. I think it was some obscure Castlevania news that popped up. Uh, Probably closer towards the beginning of the year, or maybe middle of the year. I forget. I'm time people losing
Yeah,
track of time.
no.
But I was watching his video, and I was like, okay, I like Dongle. Nothing against him, I'm buddies with him. But I was like, okay, What else is there? And then your video popped up for Dawn of Sorrow. And I'm like, ooh, that's one of my favorite games. I mean,
I hope I didn't ruin it for you.
No. It's one of my favorites, but Aria of Sorrow is way better in my opinion.
I agree.
Especially with the art style. I just could not. How you go from a Yame Kojima to like
generic anime? Yeah. I thought the same thing.
So yeah, so like I started watching, and then within the first 3 minutes, I'm just like, I'm locked in. You got that radio talk show host like voice. There's not all this jumping all over the screen, like so much just attention draining stuff that's out there. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna sit and watch. And then I watched it through, and I'm just like, it's really fucking good. And then I went to your channel and I saw you had a whole playlist. I'm like, all right, let me go click on that. And I just started watching one after another. And I'm like, I can't remember the last time I authentically did this. So then I subbed and I'm like, this dude's good. I'm like, I think I watched everything at that point. I'm like, yo, I need to find out if he's on social media so I can like follow, so I can keep up with what's happening next. Sorry if I freaked you out when I started following you and everything, but I'm just
it was bizarre. I'm sitting there like watching something with my wife, and my phone's like bwant 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 bwant. I'm like, what is happening? It's the same guy on every platform. Why?
I'm just like, yo, this stuff's good. And then I started sharing it with some of my other creator friends and some voice actors I know too. They're like, there's a lot of voice actors that are really into like retro gaming. So like one of them's my good friend Chris Sharps. He's a voice of Billy Kane in City of the Wolves, and also
no way. Nice.
Yeah, he's in was it Warhammer Rogue Trader? He's one of the characters in that. And like he's like us. He's into the same type of games that we are. So like when I sent your videos over to him, he's like, it's really fucking good. He's like, man, I like all this stuff. And it's like and then I started sharing it with my wife, like especially like I said, the Oracle games video, because the way you approached that was so genius. Like, did you start with this one and you're going to end with this? Or did you start with that one and you're going to end there? And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone who covers the Oracle games approach it with that style of having which video do you go with first. And like the cut-ins, dude, when you did the cut-in, when you say one thing and then you cut in to like, oh, but this is what it is in this game. I'm like, yo, it's so fucking good.
All right, so I'm gonna be real with you for that. Like that series of videos that I did there, that was a midterm project for that capstone class I was telling you about. Yeah, my professor was like, "Hey man, what do you got going on?" And I was like, "Here's my idea," and he was like, all right, that's crazy, but you do it. Go for it. We'll see how it turns out. So like I went through and I wrote like the intro video, and then I wrote the seasons video, and then I did the ages video, and then I kind of did the ages to seasons and seasons to ages videos. And the poor people in my class that like, because we did peer review stuff, right? So like everybody was doing their own individual thing. And like the poor people, the poor kids, oh god, I rolled up with like a stack of papers and I was like, here you go. And they looked at me and they looked at the professor, and the guy professor was like, you don't have to read all that, because it was like 100 pages. I was like, yeah, you don't want to read all that. You can look at it if you want, because like I had to print it out for the grade, right? But like the kid looked at it and was like, I was like, no, I get it. I wouldn't want to read that either. That aside, the idea was partly, I'm going to say partly inspired. It was mostly inspired. Do you remember, what was it? Markiplier, he did a couple of things like this where it was like you watch a little video and he'd give you like, pick this one or pick this one. It was like a date with Markiplier or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that has to be the thing. Like you watch the intro and then you're like, all right, let's go into ages or let's go into seasons and like see what's about, like see what that's about. And like that was the whole idea, was having it be like a choose your own adventure kind of deal.
Mhm.
Because that's how the games presented themselves to you. Like, it wasn't like Pokemon. It wasn't like red or blue Pokemon. It was the same game, just slightly different. These were two separate things that came together to form a whole story. And like they had it, in my head, I was like, it has to be this way. It can't
Mhm.
be any way else. Because like at that point, I'm not doing anything different, really. I'm just kind of being like, here's the game. Not to say that all my videos are like, that finely tuned, but I had a lot of fun doing that. You know what I mean? Like if it fits the narrative that the game's trying to tell, I'll see if I can't play with it a little bit. Sometimes you can't. It's just how the game is presented, but those games gave me that opportunity, and I took it. I tried to take it for as much of a ride as I could.
How would you say, with doing content, with growing at the rate you're growing, and with the audience reception, like how would you say that experience for you has been so far, like overall?
Well, my growth, I guess you could say, it hasn't been very like explosive. It's been a slow burn, which is great. I'm thankful for that because like if I went from nothing to everything in one day, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably lose my mind. I don't know how people who go viral handle that kind of stuff. It's crazy. But like the slow burn that I have with the audience growing over time is awesome. That's something that I am very happy to see. Not only because
Hmm.
like it's fun to watch number go up, but I feel like I'm drawing people in that actually want to be there as opposed to people who are there just to have something happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like that's the best part. There have been some altercations, right? Not every video I make is going to jive with everybody, and that's fine. That's what makes us human. Like for the most part, barring maybe a handful of people here and there, everybody who stops in, watches, and chooses to comment has been really cool and chill about it. You know what I mean? And like that's something that not everybody has an opportunity to engage with because I feel the internet as a whole provides a space for people to just kind of be mean for the sake of being mean because
Yeah.
it's not you really, it's like whatever your profile picture is, so there's a degree of separation there, which I get it, but I don't know, I want to, this is going to sound cliche I guess, but I want to foster a place where people can just kind of be, you know.
Hmm.
And that's good. That's all you really should want. Life's too short to just be angry and full of hate all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really is.
I wanna be, I guess, that little respite, that little like oasis of like, yeah, this guy's chill. He's got some good points. I like the cut of his jib, you know?
Yeah. Like finding a campfire in a Souls game.
Yeah,
A little
exactly.
respite.
Exactly. You just got done getting your ass beat, and now you just got like, oh god, I gotta take a minute. Let me just rest up for a little while.
Yeah, it's. I know we went over the time I originally said I gotta
You're
get your
good.
opinion. I gotta get your opinion on this because we're the same age, and it's like this whole thing now with the internet and social media, and it almost feels like people spend more time, and I put quotations around this, living on the internet on social
Hmm.
media than actually living in real life, enjoying and experiencing life, and it's bizarre in a way. I mean, there's still some interesting thing, but it's like I feel like this is me personally. I say this, and you don't have to agree with me. I don't find social media or a lot of the internet fun the way it used to be.
No, not even a little. No. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know what it is that's really causing that, other than the fact that everyone feels that everything that they think needs to be put out there.
Hmm.
Maybe it's that, or just how weird society has gotten over the last 15 or so years. It's just sometimes I feel like I'm in an episode of Twin Peaks, to
Uh,
be honest.
I 100% agree with that, dude. Every day I wake up and I'm like, what new horrors await me?
Right. So I don't know. Like what are your thoughts on it? Like why do you think we have this weird shift? I guess that's the safest way we can say it.
Man, that's a tough question to crack, my man. I think for people our age, around our age, a little younger, a little older, plus or minus 5, we grew up during like analog to digital, right? Like that was kind of like our whole spot. And I know some people out there are gonna be like, yeah, but other people too. Like, yeah, I know Gen X, boomers, whatever, they're all part of this too. Even some Gen Z. But there was something about going from like watching your TV with the cable box on it, and you only had like 25 channels, to slowly watching
Making
that
me feel old.
right. It's upsetting. Public access TV, man,
Remember the
was the
TV
way
Guide
of the world.
channel?
Yep. And the Weather Channel, man. Every day, it'd be like, oh, what's it like out there? Turn on the TV. But yeah, we grew up with that. So there was this little bit of like we're growing alongside the technology and stuff is changing, and like it was new and interesting to people our age because it was new and interesting to everybody more or less.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the evolution of the internet as a child, growing up with it with a child's mind and a child's eyes, the pure innocence of it all, you kind of take it as it was presented. And during those first burgeoning years of like the 56K modem and DSL up to where we are today with like gigabit, double gigabit, whatever internet speed you may or may not have, there was a sense of like the Wild West. Nobody knew what the page you were going to was going to be about until you were there. And sometimes it was cool, and sometimes it was something you probably shouldn't have seen just yet, but you're there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it all kind of happened around the same time as things like DeviantArt and Newgrounds and stuff like that was taking E-Bomb's World, stuff like that
Angel
was
Fire.
Yep. You know the ones. And like it was made by people who had no idea what they were doing. They were just kind of making stuff and seeing what would stick.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the internet. Like that's how it was. There was a little song that came out a while ago. It's been a couple months, maybe closer to half a year actually, but Homestar Runner. I'm assuming you're familiar with Homestar Runner. Yeah. They did a little song somewhat recently that was like the internet used to have an end. Like there was an end to the page.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't an end to the pages anymore. You go on something like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and like that's kind of what the internet more or less is nowadays to like a lot of people. And it's just endless scrolling. Like you're just kind of doing your thing, just swiping and seeing like what comes up next. And while that's interesting, right, it is interesting because you're getting a lot of information really quickly about a lot of different things all at once, but it's too much. Back in the day, when you'd log on to Newgrounds, you're like, oh, there's this flash animation, I want to see that. And like you'd go there specifically for that. It's kind of like going to the movies nowadays. Like you're going there for that, right? But you don't get that on the internet now. It's like you go on the internet, and unless you're doing some kind of research for something and you have a very targeted plan for what it is you're using the internet for, a lot of the time it's just social media stuff. And like, great, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really need to know about some dude getting like, I don't know, the Popeyes chicken, right? Like the Popeyes chicken sandwich, like kicked off the chicken sandwich wars. Cool. All right. My feed's going to be full of chicken sandwiches now.
So true.
And like, there's comedy there. Like we're laughing about it, but like, that's not what the internet was when we grew up. That's what it eventually became. And I think that's because eventually the .com bubble happened and corporations were like, and here's our opportunity to sink in and like turn it from this thing that satiates curiosity to this thing that facilitates consumerism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once that happened and once that changeover occurred, there really isn't a way to go back anymore because it's become too consumer. And it's unfortunate because I miss those old days of like going onto the internet and telling don't use the phone. I'm going online. Stop. I have to use aim. Like, gotta tell my high school buddies that I just saw, like, what happened when I got home. I don't know. There's something that is just lost now. And I don't want to say it's fine. It's upsetting is what it is, at least to me personally. There's a part of me that wishes we could dial that back. And I know we can't, but it'd be nice if we did, even for a minute, because at least then there was something real there. And now it's not. Now it's just people pushing product like almost nonstop. I'm guilty of it, man. I roll onto TikTok, and God help me if not every 3 to 4 videos there's some guy being like, "Hi guys, today I'm going to show you my viral." Okay, next video. I don't want to I want to experience. I don't want to be like force fed, you know what I mean? And that's something that I think a lot of people learn with time is experiences are going to be with you for the long haul. And those short bursts aren't necessarily, right? You might find a funny meme and that's great for the moment, but I don't know, man. Have you tried hiking up a mountain and just looking out at the sunset? Have you tried that? Because that's pretty good. That's nice. I like that.
It is. Yeah.
There's something magical about I did that when I was in Alaska, man. Like I hiked a mountainous trail all day, went through a glacier river. It was the coldest water I think I've ever touched that wasn't frozen. And like that experience is going to stick with me for the rest of my days. But like, man, this cat video though. This cat video sponsored by, Friskies. It's I don't know. Authenticity, I think at the end of the day is kind of the name of the game, right? I think the internet back when we were growing up and a lot of media was about making connections, and you could argue that that's still technically true. But it's connections that have been mucked up by corporatism, I suppose. You have to sit there and question, am I doing this because I want to, or am I doing this because I'm subtly being told to?
Yes. Oh man, you hit the nail on the head with that. You ever seen that meme? It's a Charlie Brown meme where he looks at Snoopy and he's like, I'm gonna completely butcher this, but it was something about I miss when I didn't know so much about the world that I do now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there are times for me when I'm like, man, I miss the 90s. I miss
hmm
the 2000s. I miss that simplicity. And it's especially weird when you have kids, especially with the way society is now. They're not growing up at all in any semblance of the same world that I grew up in,
Oh
you
no,
know?
it's
And
100% different.
it's so different that so I've got 4 kids,
hmm
a son on the way, but I've got two daughters that are teenagers or quasi teenagers. So 12 and 13, well, 12 and 11. Then I got a 4 going on 5-year-old, and then I got a son on the way. And I struggle to even understand or relate to my teenagers because the things that they're into and their attention spans and everything like that is so radically different that I don't know how to like some of the stuff they show me. I'm just like, I don't get it. They're like, how do you not get it? I don't get it. And I'm like, damn, I became that guy. I'm like my grandparents are like, I don't get this. And that's me now. And it's like everything is competing for your attention. There's
hmm
constantly product placements, whether it's in your face or literally within the shot of whatever video or whatever you're listening to or watching. It's like it's such a strange time that
It
it
is.
feels surreal half the time. And it's like just general discourse with people is almost non-existent if
hmm
like there's this clear lines in the sand. People can't have agree to disagree on stuff anywhere. It's a weird time. I can't imagine being a young person growing up in this because it would be so confusing.
It would.
I believe we may have had this conversation before, but like I think about it, I could not imagine being young and trying to date or find someone to marry in this era because
Right.
I'm like, I
Yep.
see so much stuff and I'm just like, whoa.
hmm No, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. if anything happened to my wife, God forbid, I don't want anything to happen to her because I can't do it. I can't go out there into the world as it is, man. It's too much in that regard. And she's the same way. She thinks the same way. She's like, if anything ever happened to you, I don't know what I would do. I can't date, can't do that. And I was like, no, same, can't do that either. It's wild out there. The horror stories I hear from people who are still dating. It's like, ugh, I don't envy that.
Dude, I didn't even know this was a term. So, all right, let me preface this. I don't
Okay.
spend a lot of time on social media. Yes, there's a lot of posts, but I typically schedule all that stuff and I just am doing whatever I'm doing in life. But the term that I hear from my female and male friends is like situationship. When I first heard that, I'm like, what the hell is a situationship? They're like, the tech guy doesn't know what that is. I'm like, no, what is that? And then I find out, these people are in quasi relationships without a title for this. I'm like, how do you spend that much time with someone
And
and
not,
allow that to, right?
yeah.
It's weird. And I'm just like, I don't,
Yeah, I don't get it
and,
either.
and it's normalized. And that's why I do not get it.
It boggles me too, man. I mean, if that's what people want to do, all the more power to them. Who am I to say, don't do that? But God, that's got to be tiring at some point, right? I have to imagine.
I'd rather just like never go outside if I got to deal with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, and just and we can wind down. But I look at the fact that there's just so much where people are literally addicted to their phones. They're addicted to viewing everything. Every thought has to be posted. Every opinion needs to be put out there. And it's almost like we're actually living 1984.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. All the time. That and Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if you've like played through that or not, but like every day I wake up and I'm like one step closer to that version of reality. I
Yeah.
don't know if I want that.
Especially with the AI thing too. Like I was
Mhm.
curious about your opinion on that, but like this whole push that we have now where AI literally went from predictive text and whatever in video games and such to 2021 chat GPT, and then like everything is using AI. Now we got Sora and Google VO3 and all this other stuff. You
It's too
can't
much.
tell and it's scary how it's gotten so good you almost can't tell it's fake. If you're older or super young, you probably can't tell it's fake.
No,
But
there's
it's
no, you
like
have to have an eye for it. Absolutely.
I'm like, this is like the steps towards a seriously dystopian future, and it's terrifying to me.
It is. It is. I hate the rise of like AI in the creative spaces. I do think, I'm gonna be honest, there's a place for AI, but it is not in creative fields, not even by a long shot. If it's art, movies, music, writing, any of that, it has no place in anything creative. What it does have a place in is like scientific things. Like if somebody wants to program an AI to cipher through and jot down everything it can about the human genome, excellent, because that's going to get done in no time flat. Obviously, you got to check it, make sure it's doing its job right. You don't want to just assume and be like, the AI, there it is, it says it. But like
Mm-hmm.
that's as far as I think AI should go. Having it in the creative fields in any way is wildly upsetting. And like I don't like that when I see something that even is remotely interesting to me, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool. I have to sit there and be like, oh, hold on a minute. Wait, hold on. Let's really look at this. Let's scrutinize it first because it could be AI. And sometimes it is. And it's like, well, damn. Okay, that could have been cool. Too bad it's not real. And like, I don't want that to be my first response. When I look at somebody's like picture or art or whatever they're making, I don't want my first thought to be, is it AI? My first thought should be like, that's awesome. This must have taken forever. I want to appreciate this for just a little bit longer. But you can't really do that today. The first thought in my head is always like, oh God, here we go. Okay, is this AI? Yes, no, and then go from there. But like that split second or two that I take to sit there and stare at it is like, that shouldn't be my first reaction. Art's meant to make you feel something, right? So if the first thing I'm feeling when I'm looking at a piece of art is trying to decide if it's uncanny valley, that's not a good look. That's not a good look by any stretch. And I feel for all the artists and stuff out there that have to deal with that on the regular. It's upsetting.
Especially with us being in the content creator space, there's this massive push for AI, and you see so many AI slap channels
Mm-hmm.
constantly. I I had someone when I was speaking at one of the colleges recently. They asked me, they're like, "Oh, what is your greatest competition right now? Is it other creators?" And I'm like, "No, it's AI,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm competing with AI. If I don't push out enough content, I'm drowned out by AI, because that is what's going to go to the frontmost, regardless of
Right.
whether any of the information is accurate in it or not. The AI ability to generate a video is far faster than me being able to write something down, research it, go over all the technical little details, and then
Right.
put that video out. And then YouTube has shifted to where you have to almost upload shorts to get traction.
Yeah, there is a
uh,
lot of that.
I was in a program. It was a 8-week boot camp that YouTube reached out to me and said, "Hey, we'd like you to be part of it." It's like, "Yeah, sure." And then come to find out, it's literally a program or a boot camp just about shorts, because that is the direction that they are heading, or they were heading at the time. They still are now, to compete with TikTok, because TikTok had
Yeah.
too much of a range. And we saw Instagram follow suit, trying to put that in
Mm-hmm.
there, and then all these other platforms. And it's just, you know, how can you be incredibly original within 30 to 90 seconds? How can you can't. You're just trying to get someone's attention for that little bit of time,
Right.
because we've been trained to scroll, scroll, scroll. And it's crazy. I was at I can probably end with this, but I remember, was it 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, I went to CES, and one of the companies asked me, they're like, "Hey, you want to step off the showroom floor? We want to show you something, since you're a content creator." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so I went in this room, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, just sit here." And then on the other side, they pulled the curtain back, and then I'm talking to a person. And it felt like it was a real interaction. And then by the time I'm done with it, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is our AI content creator." And I'm like, "That that wasn't real?" They're like,
That
"Well,
wasn't a
no, this
guy?
is AI." Yeah, and so I remember
Man.
telling other creators, I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna have to deal with this soon." Everyone's like, "Oh, you're Mekel, you're crazy. They're not gonna do that." And then Dexerto put out a whole article, I think a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, where they're like, "Hey, this isn't real. This is an AI influencer." And then that slowly started to be a thing, where there are AI influencers. I understand why some companies are doing it. One,
Right.
they don't have to pay for an influencer. Two, they don't have to deal with legal complications or social pushback or anything if a creator does something stupid. I understand that.
Right.
But it's still a problem, because I have to think, like you said, is this real?
Mm.
So it's very uncomfortable. I don't like the direction we're going. I don't know how long we creators can actually compete with AI in this sense.
Yeah. The sheer volume is going to be almost impossible. Like, as it is now, it's basically impossible. No,
Yeah.
unless you're like the production guy, you know what I mean? It's not happening. The amount of that they can just pop things out is insane. It's not good, not at all, but it's crazy.
So with that being said, man, is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we go? I know we went well over. I apologize for that. I was
Oh
just
no, you're
enjoying the
good.
conversation too much.
I'm in the same boat, brother. We're good. God, I don't know. I guess as far as like, I don't know, if you want to cap off the whole AI thing, just be more curious, I guess, about the world around you in general. Just
Mhm.
be curious. That's what it means to be human, is to experience and live life and just do things. Like, I don't know why we have the level of like self-awareness that we do as humans. I'm sure if you wanted to get theological about it, you could.
Mm.
But that aside, like, we have that ability. We can differentiate, so be self-aware. And with that, I think you have to experience life, and life comes at you fast. And the older you get, the faster it comes. And it doesn't wait for anybody, let alone anything. And that's something that I've been learning to accept myself after, everything that I've gone through in life up to this point. I appreciate it more and more each day. The people that I know, the places I've been, the things I've seen, because like I mentioned earlier, those are all a part of me, and those are all things that only I have experienced in that way. And if I can shed even just a little bit more light on something from a perspective unique to me that other people may end up like liking, then I'm here for that. That's the connection I want to make. That's the human to human connection. And I think at least on that level, we're going to be that much better than any AI competitor that exists, because it will be, assuming it's done in good faith, that it's a human connection. It's something that bridges the gap from person to person. And that's something no AI can replicate, at least not yet. And I hope that it never does, because when that happens, if that happens, that might as well just be Skynet, my man.
We
That'll
are
be a
apparently 4 to 5 months away from singularity.
ooh, yeah, no. Don't want that. Don't want that at all. That'll be cultural Skynet. No, thank you. No, thank you. So, yeah, just, I guess that would be it. Take time. Take time for yourself. Take time for the world around you. Take time to learn and experience. And if anything that I make helps in that, then I'm all for it. If anything you make helps in that, I'm all for it. It's what makes life worth living, I think.
Yeah. Completely agree with that, man. Bonus question.
Sure. Shoot. Yeah,
Because I'm
we're here.
curious. We're the same age. We went to college at different decades.
Yes.
I am now of the mindset at 37 that it is better when you're young to travel and learn a trade or a craft or a skill set than to go straight from high school to college. I say that because I wasted a lot of time
Mm,
when I was in college, and you don't really, well, one, your brain isn't fully developed,
no.
but also the fact that I just feel like you don't have the capability of appreciating and really diving into it as much as you would at a later stage in life. But I'm curious, from your perspective, do you prefer college at the age that you went to it, or would you have preferred to have gone earlier?
Oh, man, that's a great question.
Curveball.
It is. It is. So here's the thing. My wife and I have been together basically since high school, right? So that's awesome for us. She's my best friend, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Congratulations. Happy
Thank
for
you. Thank you. I'm happy for me too. But she went to college right after high school, and I didn't. I was struggling to find the right college for me at the time, and that aside, there was also like the whole like how do I fund it problem, right?
Mhm.
Because college do be pricey. It wasn't as bad back then, but it's bad. It's still bad. So I had like a weird tangential college experience, if you will, because I would visit her on the weekends, right? So I'd
Mhm.
go up to the college that she was at, and we'd hang out together, and we'd go do like college kid activities, right? Take that as you will. So like that part of it was fun. I liked that, but I think for her first year, she struggled a lot because, it was a form of independence that she didn't quite have that up until that point, right? And it was a form of independence that I would eventually uncover, though, albeit through a drastically different lens. I spent 5 years after graduating in 2007 as part of the army, right? Like I spent that whole 5 years from, I joined a little late. It was 2008. And I'd have to look at my paperwork. I can't remember which. But I joined later than that. So I had like a year and a half, almost 2 years worth of like me being out in the world as a quote unquote adult, right? 18 years old, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Hmm.
So I was living life, doing work. At the time, I was a machinist, which is a trade that I think maybe more people would be into. It didn't really work out for me. The company I was a part of went under. So there's that. And that kind of forced my hand, right? Because it was the 2008 like
Well, the
economic
economic
crisis.
crash. Yeah.
Yeah. So there weren't jobs, there wasn't anything that I could kind of roll into, and that forced my hand to go do the army, right? Which is fine. I don't regret my time. It helped build me up into who I am today, for better or for worse. It does come with some caveats,
Hmm.
obviously. And while the work I did there, I don't think really suited much of anybody except for the people pulling the strings. It
Hmm.
was life experience. And coming out of that after 5 years and being thrust back into the civilian world is a curveball in and of itself, number one. But to try and figure out what it is I want to do after that took a lot of time, because for 5 years I was being told what to do. You know what I mean? So to have that level of freedom was something that I needed to kind of come to terms with on my own, outside of all the other aspects that, and baggage that come along with that career choice, let's call it. So coming out of that, trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, it took a lot of time. I mentioned earlier that I tried to do programming. That didn't work.
Hmm.
For as smart as I like to think I am, I'm not quite that smart. That's a whole different level of smart. And then I tried to do like a criminal justice thing, because why not, right?
That was the rage back then, though. See,
Yeah, it was. It was. And like, I was pretty okay at it. But at the same time, I sat down and I was like, this isn't what I want to do, man. I don't know what I want to do, because like, I hadn't really thought about it much. So I took time, I took a lot of time, and I tried to figure out what it is that I wanted. And eventually I landed on video production, right? Now, I didn't know that the school that I went to had this program until, well, I discovered it. So I went in for communications degree, because at the very least I was like, I'll just get a degree. I'd spent the time. Uncle Sam's going to give me the opportunity to do this. I'm going to do it. And it's because I took that route that I wound up in video production capability. And it's something that as I got through those years of college, I realized that that was what I wanted to do. And it was something that, funnily enough, I had some experience with back in the like early 2000s. I'm talking like those multicolored, clear, see through iMac computers. You remember the ones. I was in a class. It was run by a teacher way out in Nevada, Las Vegas. Shout out to Mr. Dunlop. This dude was a legend. He was from New Zealand. So I don't know if he's
hmm
back in New Zealand or not. I don't know what he was doing in Vegas at the time, but I'm not going to complain. He had a class that was just like, make videos. Just make videos. And like, we did that, and eventually it transformed into like, all right, now you're going to do like production stuff for the morning announcements. Every student in the school is going to watch the morning announcements on the TV. You guys are in charge of like producing that. So I did, and I found out real quick back then that that's awesome. I like this. I think I'm going to keep doing this. And it was something that like I lost touch with, because life happens. And when I was sitting in college in my mid to late 30s, right? I was sitting there watching these kids doing, they're kids, they're like 20 something year olds. They're whatever.
they're
You know what
kids.
I'm saying? You know, they're adults, but they're kids. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here watching them, and they're giving it their all, right? At the very least, I can say they were really trying. And I appreciated that. So I was like, you know what? If they're willing at such a young age to get up there and try, then the least I can do is give them that same energy back. So I did. I put everything I had into being in that production class and learning the ins and outs of what I could at the time. And it's something that I appreciate now. It's only been like 2 years since I graduated, but I look back on it and I'm like, man, I'm glad I did that. I'm so glad I did that. I took that chance, and it's a slow payoff, but it's paying off. And I don't think I'd have it any other way. you know? Ultimately, I think going into college later was the better experience for me personally because it helped pull myself out of where I thought I was being trapped, right? I felt lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And just being there and experiencing it as it was like being presented to me really pulled myself back out from like where I was mentally. And I think if I had gone to college at a younger age, I wouldn't have experienced that. And I think it's something that I needed at that time. And I'm grateful for it because as it turns out, it got me here and I'm chatting with you and this has been great. So, I mean, you know, they say everything happens for a reason. And I don't want to put too much thought into that because that means a lot of stuff's like preordained or whatever. Life is what you make it.
Yeah.
But if that happened for a reason, I'm glad that it did because it got me here. And I don't think I'd have it any other way.
Completely agree with you. Man, having life experiences under your belt before you go to college, I think is essential because when you're a kid, like that is too much. I'll just be honest. I had way too much freedom. Way
Mm,
too much. I had no idea what to do with it. Half the times I wasn't showing up to class. I have a degree in communications within video production and also in media.
right. Two peas in a pod, my man. Two
You
peas
know,
in a pod.
it's like when I think back to when I was going for that degree, I'm just like I wasn't really in the mental space, and it's crazy because there's a lot of people that I went to college with, and it's been 20 years since we started. We, when I talk to them and we reflect on it, we're all kind of like, yeah, we wish we started later. It was
Mm,
too. It was. It's that's way too much of a paradigm shift from being a high school student, depending on, I don't know, everyone's got different experiences, either good home lives or bad or good neighborhood or
right.
wherever they're from. It's a variable, but it's a shift going from that to absolute freedom in every sense of the way. You succeed, it's on you. You fuck up, it's on you. And you know, I
The
think a
world
lot
will
of
let
us
you know when you fuck up. It'll let you know
it
real
will.
quick.
Oh yeah. It's just one of those things where I wish I did it later. And for my kids, like I know my teenagers are like, oh, when I go to college, I want to go straight after to high school, and I'm just like, baby girls, I'd like y'all to travel,
Yeah.
to live life, to not feel like, and I think this is probably part of being young, and maybe also because of this digital era where we care so much about what other people think, we care about trying to fit in to the point where that can make it difficult to try and genuinely figure out who you are because you're trying to fit in and you're trying to conform to whatever's going on within society as a whole.
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
just it's just better, in my opinion, to go later than to go straight into it. My wife she had a great time in college, she did well, but it's just, I know it varies based on the person. I just think it's just better when you've got experience under your belt.
I would agree to that. I mean, different strokes for different folks, right? Some people are going to thrive right out of high school, and other people might need a little more of a kick in the butt. But I think you're right. I think having some life experience before you like settle down and really figure out what it is you want to do. I think you need that first. I'm a firm believer that everybody needs to be in some form or factor at one point a member of the customer service industry in some regard.
Yes.
Because, like, wow, wow, some people have some audacity, and they wouldn't have that if they worked those jobs.
No, dude, especially servers, the way
Hmm.
folks treat.
It's rough, man.
Jeez, man.
Every time I go into a restaurant, I'm like, please, thank you, you're doing great, thank you, please. You know, I don't want to make their night miserable because I guarantee somebody else probably has, and like they don't need that. Not from me, anyway. Not from me.
With that being said, man, where can people find you?
Well, I have social accounts on all the major social platforms. You get Instagram, X, TikTok, whatever. I will preface, however, I'm not very active on there because, you know, like yourself, I try to keep to myself, maybe a little too much to my own detriment. But You can find me there. Eventually, I'll make posts. But if you want the real meat and potatoes, you can find me on YouTube at Leon Kiske. If you have questions about that, I'm sure there will be links down below somewhere. Just look for the one that starts with L and ends in E, then you'll be fine.
Right. With that being said, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on the show. I'd love to have you back on again if you'd be interested in that, because I just feel like there's just so much more we could just dive into and touch on. And this has been refreshing for me. And, it's been a while since I've had another creator on the show. Lately, it's just been voice actors or celebrities. That's cool. I don't want to take that for granted.
Right.
Any of y'all who may look at this and be like, oh, I guess he doesn't like having me. No, I do, but it's, you're in a different world.
Right.
In a way. You know,
yeah.
It's refreshing to talk to a fellow creator, fellow comm major, someone my age as well. A lot of the voice actors and actors are either in their 20s or a lot of them are in their 40s, 50s, and so on.
Yeah.
Dude, I could talk about that too. The rift, because there's legitimately a rift between older voice actors and younger ones.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a second.
That's
the realest thing you could have said.
Oh man, I've heard some stories. I'm just like, oh, okay. But anyways, that being said, people, links for Leon's platforms, social media, especially YouTube. Make sure you go and stalk them on everything. Don't stalk
Please
in a
do.
creepy way. You want to? Okay.
I mean, check it out. You can check it out. Maybe don't stalk in the creepy way, but I mean, if you want to, I'm not going to stop you. I'll just look at you incredulously. Why are you doing that? Don't you have something better to do? You don't have to stalk me like that. That's fine. I mean, you can if you want, but don't.
Okay, be honest. You got an OnlyFans for feet, don't you?
No, God, no.
There are people that don't pay for that, man.
I'm sure. Couldn't be me. It's not. I don't. Please don't try to find me on OnlyFans. You'll be disappointed. You're not going to find anything about me. Not there, anyway. Not on anything like that, I should specify. It should be a little more exact. That's a whole world of content creation I am not a part of.
Dude, I have so many opinions about that, but the only thing I'll say is this. Ladies, that doesn't go away.
No.
It doesn't go away. And
the internet is forever.
If you have kids, stop putting your kids on social media on the same platforms you promote that.
Yeah, no. Does that happen? Is that real?
Dude, that is so common. I don't know why they do that.
No. No. We got to change the topic, man. We got to bring this back up. That's upsetting. We can't end on that. That's awful.
Hey, with that being said, people, you can find all links to Leon's YouTube and social media platforms down in the description down below. Leon, thank you so much for coming on the show. We definitely going to do this again.
100%. Absolutely. I'd love to come back.
Yeah, man. It's just so much more I want to talk about. I'm like, man, I took up 2 hours of your time, but people are going to love it. They love these longer conversations. This is reminding me of conversations I had with Jared. And I'm also thinking too, I was like, damn, it'd be cool to do like a panel podcast with you and Jared on here.
Oh, that'd be dope. I'd be all about that. Anybody you want me to chat with, I'll chat all day.
I'd be down to do that. But yeah, man, with that being said, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you to Spotify for sponsoring the show. And with that being said, people, you can catch this episode and others here on YouTube, as well as on Spotify in video format and on Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcast episodes. With that being said, catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe, be blessed, get off the internet, go outside and touch some grass, please.
Please. For real, please.
Just experience life. It's too short to be wasting just being addicted to it through this, because this isn't living. It's just a tool.
It is. He speaks the truth.
With that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Have a good one.
For your time, for listening to this episode of the Kasanova podcast, number one podcast in Hawaii. If you found this episode to be incredibly enjoyable, informative, or if there's anything you gain from it, or any insight, or anything that's good that you
really, really enjoy. Make sure, whatever platform you're listening to it on, or if you're watching it, leave a comment if that's available on the platform, like it, share it around with someone you think would enjoy it, and give us some feedback, because your feedback is exactly what we need to keep this show going. And if you're wondering what are some ways that you could support the show, we got various ways. We've got Patreon, we have channel memberships over on YouTube, as well as Subscribestar, Coffee, and so much more. Links for everything will be in the description of the podcast, so make sure you go check that out. And with all that being said, I hope you have an aloha rest of your day.
Let them know that I'm next level. I'm a whole new kind of guy. Yeah. Yes, at the top spot in case you forgot. We the ones that got the block hot, bullet got the shot.